Hi guys, in this video we will see the string compression program using the HashMap. So string compression is an interesting problem, maybe asked in the interview sometimes. So we are having the input string str equal to, and this is the example for a string. There are two A's and there are three B's and there are two C's and there are three D's and there are five E's. So like this, there are different kinds of characters. As an example, I have taken this A, B, C, D, E. So the output expected for this problem is we should get the alphabet. A is repeated two times. So alphabet A and then two. Then the alphabet B is repeated for three times. Then the alphabet C is repeated for two times. And then D is there for three times and E is there for five times. So based on the input, the output should be like this. So as an example, I have taken this input and the output expected is this one. So using the hash map, we need to build a logic in order to solve this problem. So let's try to write a program for this. Let's go to Eclipse and create a new class. String compression using hash map. Select the main method, click on finish. So this is our input and this is the output. So output I am commenting out. So first of all, since we are taking the input, we can print the input on the console, sysout, control space, and print the str. String str I am taking this input. So first of all, let's do the program with this input and we can change the input to some other input also after we write the logic. So first of all, I am taking an input and we are printing that on the console, and since we are using the hash map in order to solve this problem, I am going to declare one hash map hm equal to new hash map. So here in the hash map we know that we need to have the both key and value pairs. So here the key will be an alphabet, so it is a character we need to take, and the second one is the number, so we need to take character and integer here. Character, integer. So these are the two data types we have to take in this case. So these are wrapper classes, character wrapper class and integer wrapper class. So this is for storing the string character, each and every character, and this is storing the count of the integer, count of that particular alphabet. So this is the variable I am declaring. HashMap variable hm I am taking. Any name we can specify for that. And in this problem, we are going to take a string builder object. So string builder. So output variable I am taking as a string builder. New string builder. So here why I am taking string builder and why I am not taking a string? Because string we know that it is a immutable object, and whenever we are doing concatenation, a new object will get created and it will be wasting a memory in our program execution time, right? So string builder will be using the same memory location in the heap memory. So we are going to take these two variables in order to solve this problem. This is about the variable declaration part, and now I need to start from the first character at the 0th index of this string, and I need to iterate using a for loop. So let me start with a for loop for int I equal to 0, I less than str dot length. So if we are giving I less than str dot length, that is fine. So up to str dot length minus 1 it will iterate and stop. In case you are giving less than or equal to, then here minus 1 we need to specify. So I am starting with 0th index and ending at str dot length minus 1. So after this, we are putting a condition here and saying whenever a character is already available inside the hash map, we need to increment it. So first of all, let's assume that initially we don't have any values in the hash map. So then what we have to do? We need to add that particular character into the hash map and assign the value as 1. So hm.put is the method for inserting the value. str.char at caret is the method which will be taking the specified character at the index in the string, and we need to put the value of 1. So this is when we don't have any character already available in the hash map. So this particular key is not available in the hash map, then it will get inserted, and the number 1 will be added since it is the first time we are adding into the hash map. So whenever it is already available, we need to insert str.char at index I, and since it is already available, what we have to do, we need to retrieve the value of hm.get method we have to use in order to retrieve that particular value. So here character a we are counting for number 1, number 2, like this, how many times in the particular string it is available we are counting, right? So we need to, initially we are putting the 1, but in the second iteration we need to increment it to 2, right? So we need to retrieve hm dot get of str dot char at index I plus 1. So this method will be retrieving the existing value in the hash map. For alphabet A, in the first iteration we will be having only 1, right? In the second iteration, so first iteration already 1 is inserted. In the second iteration we need to increment it with 2. So we need to retrieve the existing value and then increment it by 1. So in the third iteration, suppose A is repeated for 3 times. So the existing value 2 will be retrieved using the hashmap.get method of, this is the key we are passing here. The key is the alphabet and the value is the number. So value will be incremented in this case. So if you are using the get method, the value will be retrieved. Return the value of the specified key in the map. So we need to put it in the if and else conditions because we should not execute this every time. So whenever the particular key is already available, then only we are going to increment it. So hm dot contains key method we have to use in the hash map, str dot caret index I. So whenever that particular character A or B, it is available already in the hash map, we are going to increment it. So this code will be incrementing and this code will be checking whether that character is available or not. So in case the character is not available inside the map, we should put an else condition and insert it for the first time. So this is going to be executing for the first time and inserting with the value as 1. In the second iteration, third iteration, whenever the alphabet is available, this first if condition will be executed, and whenever it is getting added for the first time, number 1 will be added. For the second time onwards, it will be continuing to increment and count the number of times. So here the number of times, how many times we are want to retrieve the value, we need to check, right? So we are counting all that. So finally, after this, the hash map will be having the both the alphabet and the number of times it is occurring in the key and value pairs. So since hashmap will store the values in the key and value pairs, so after the end of this for loop, we will be having the key count and the value count. Key is the A here, value is number 2, and key is B here, and the value will be number 3. Key will be C and value will be 2. Like this, any alphabet, whatever is there, it will be counting the key and values. So the value is incremented and the key will be unique in case of hash map. So this for loop will be giving the output, but it will be stored in the form of a key and value pairs. Now I will be taking the string builder output variable and I will concatenate all the values, key and value pairs, subsequent one by one. In the subsequent locations, we need to concatenate that. So after this, I am going to write another for loop. So this for loop is helpful for navigating through the key and value and concatenate into the string builder. So using the append method in string builder, we need to write this code. So inside the for loop, we have to navigate through the map. So map dot entry, and we have taken the character and integer. So the variable entry we have to take here, hm dot entry set. So inside the for loop we need to write output dot append. So initially the output will be empty because we are creating a new string builder. Output will not have anything. So we have to use the append method and start concatenating the values. So output dot append of entry dot get key. In the first iteration, the first key will be retrieved and it will be appended into the output. And output dot append we have to again write. And in this case, we have to give entry dot get value. So every iteration, one key and value pairs are taken into this entry variable. So map dot entry, and then entry we are giving. Entry is the variable in this for loop. So it will take the key and value pairs in every iteration, character and integer values. So that we are going to append into the output variable. So the first iteration a and number 2 will be there in the hash map. So that will be appended into the output, and it will iterate further. So in the second iteration, what happens? The alphabet B is there, and it is having the count of 3. So that will get appended in the, like, it will be placing the values one after another in the string format. So at the end of this for loop, what happens? Whatever output we are expecting, that will be coming up. So let's print that output on the console. I'm going to save this program and let's execute it and check. Run as Java application. So this is our input, and whatever output we are expecting, that is coming. So it is working as expected. So let me take a different input. So in case we are changing the input also, it should work, right? So I am taking A. Again A I am giving. Some C's I am giving. Then D I am giving. E. Then some B's. And again C's. So the initial str string I am commenting out, and we need to get the output for this. So there are A's here, and again in between some more A's are there, in between B's are there, C and D and E, and again B and C are there. So it should be giving the correct output now. Even though the position of the values are not simultaneously, it is randomly placed also, it should work. So you can see this is the input, and we can count the number of A's. So 3 are there, and here 4, 7. Total A7 is correct. B6. So here 3 are there, and here 3 are there. So total B6 is correct. C6. So here 4 and here 2. C6 is correct. D4. So we are having D4. It is correct. E is 3 is there. So this is also fine. In case I am changing the input to something else. So let me take the input string str equal to. So in this case, I am going to enter the alphabets randomly in the keyboard. So it can be duplicate, or it may be not repeated most of the times. So I entered these values randomly from the keyboard, and let's execute it. So again, it is giving R1, S5, then D5, then we are having U3, E1. So everything is counting. So if you check, D is there for how many times? 1 time, 2 time, 3, 4, 5. So D5 is correct. So similarly, all the other alphabets is also correct in this example. W is there for 1, 2, 3. So W3. And H is there for twice. I is there only once. And J is there for 3 times. One J is there, second J is there, third J is there. Based on the input, this output is working as expected. In case you want to debug this code also, let's try to debug that. So we can put a condition in this case. At line number 18, I am putting toggle breakpoint, and let's save this program. Right click and debug as Java application. So let's debug this code. So initially, let's see the what is the str we are taking. So str here is, this is the input of str. And if you take the output is initially not having any value. Str is having some value when we are debugging, but output is initially empty, right? So nothing is there. So it is iterating for the faster time, and index I is 0. And if we check hash map is also not having anything initially, so it is empty. So if I do step over F6, we have to do step over in the keyboard, or we can click this option also, step over below the source option in the menu. So step over F6. So this if did not execute because for the faster time nothing is there in the hash map, and the contains key method will be failed, and it will not execute. The if condition will fail. So the else block is executed, and now if you place the cursor on hash map, still the code is not executed, so hash map is empty. If I do step over one more time, so for first iteration A is inserted, so you can see in this case D1 is coming. So the input is initially D, right, in the input string here. So D is taken into the hash map. And again let's step over one more time. So in this case also again the input is W here. So W E J. So since this input is random, it is going to be difficult to understand. So what I am going to do, I am going to break this, terminate this, and let's comment out this and take the initial example, whatever the initial first example I have taken. So this will be easy to understand. Whenever I am adding up A and then again adding up, incrementing the A to 2, right? You can able to easily see that. So whatever debugging I am doing for this, you can also try it out with other inputs. It should work fine. So already the breakpoint is available in the line number 18. So I am going to right click inside and debug as Java application. So here let's see, str is having the input and output is empty initially, and index I equal to 0 initially, and then hash map is also empty. So if I am doing step over F6, so else block is getting executed, still it is yet to execute, it is empty. So do step over. So for the first time A is inserted and number 1 is inserted. This is the first iteration. So let's execute for the second iteration. Now the if condition is getting executed because A is already available inside the hash map. So it is going to get the value of A and then increment by 1. So initially A1 is there, but whenever we execute this one more time, so second iteration is executed. If you put the cursor on the hash map, A is incremented to 2. So let's execute one more time. So now the character is B here, so B is not available, so it is inserting for the first time. And if you do step over one more time and place the cursor on HM, so B is inserted for the first time. So do step over one more time. So the first if condition is executing because B is already there and we are trying to increment that now. So initially B1 is there, and whenever we do step over, it is now incremented to 2, and do step over one more time. The if condition is executing, and again you put the cursor on HM. So B3 is there. So total how many B's are there? 3 B's are there. Now if we do step over one more time, so now C is getting added into the hash map. So you can place the cursor on C1 is there. So the same process will apply for all the other logic. So I'm going to execute for few more times and place the cursor on HM. So you can see C2 D3 is there. So how many D's are there? D's are 3 and E's are 5 totally. So I am going to execute few more times and see. E1 is there. So if I execute 4 more times, the first if condition will execute 4 times and the code will be coming out of the for loop. Now we place the cursor on the hash map A2, B3, C2, D3, E5. Now the output is initially empty. So if I do the step over one more time, for the first time the append will be taking the entry. So entry is having A2 for the first iteration. So since hashmap is having A2 for the first iteration, A2 is coming up, get key is A is there, and value is 2 here, key is A and value is 2. So do step over. So the output initially will be having A, and now it is adding the value into the string builder. So place the cursor, A2 is coming up into the output. So do step over one more time. So you can see B3 will get added. So whatever values are there in the hash map, everything will be added into the output. Finally, once we execute the entire for loop, the required output will be generated. So if I do one more time, the value is printed on the console. So that's it. So whatever input we are passing, accordingly the output will be changing. So for any kind of input, this logic will work. So the input should be having any alphabets in any order. It can be simultaneous values or it can be in random locations. So it can be it and any location. It may not be at the same place. It can be at any location. So this is also working. So save this program. So whatever input you are passing, accordingly the output is coming correctly. So you can debug this code. So I have explained with one of the inputs. So you can try it out with other inputs. So this is an interesting problem, and sometimes in interviews they will ask in different ways. So solving with HashMap and string builder is easy, right? So here string builder you use it so that the concatenation will be directly affecting into the string builder variable value. If you are using a string here, again you need to assign it to the string variable one more time because strings are immutable. String buffer and string builder are mutable objects, and whenever we are doing the append method, the value is affected into the memory of the string builder or string buffer variable. So this is the property of string buffer and string builder. So this will be helping us to save the memory. So whenever required, when we are doing the concatenation operations, we can able to use this one. So this is about this problem. So do practice this, and it can be helpful for the interview perspective. So that's it about this program. Thank you.